Welcome back to the Glimmer Witch. My name is Sam. Happy New Year. It is the 1st of January 2020, and as promised, here is my unboxing and review of the hand dolly hand. So I received this as a Christmas present from my husband, but I will admit that I had a quick peek at it before we wrapped it up. So I'm going to go through what you get in that box. So I ordered a quite a pale skin tone, and you get this lovely mat which is two-sided, so glittery one side, velvety the other. You get the instant the cure torch, which is what I'm guessing it's for. It's to flash cure nail art, I think. So that's what I think it's for. I also got this beautiful pot of mixed gems. There's some lovely bits in there. Alongside you get the clamp. Now this is really good. So you unscrew this barrel bit and you can open it up quite wide. So even if you've got quite a deep table, then it will clamp on there, which I found quite good. So you get the clamp included. That bally bit goes in the hole on the back of the hand. Something a little bit strange about doing that. I'm not going to say any more than that. It might just be my mind. You also get a box of these tips. So these tips you put in the wrong way round and they slide underneath the cuticle, which is very clever. So you push them right in and they then look like natural nail tips, which I love. This is a little pack with some foils in. It also did have some snowflakes, striping tape. I throw it away. Hate striping tape. I don't do it. I can't do it. So I don't do striping tape, but thank you anyway, hand dolly. Little sweetie, gonna have that later. And I'm gutted that it's took me this long to get to use this hand. I also asked for a neutral sleeve, so this goes over the hand, makes it look real, literally. And the reason I chose hand dolly is because I've heard so many great reviews about this hand. So for the price and the fact you get all of this included, I thought was brilliant. So these are nail stickers and water decals, I presume. I am guessing. Haven't used them yet, but there were some multicolored snowflakes in this box that I nicked. I took them out and used them at Christmas, sorry. But yeah, they were lovely. Another water decal, found that at the bottom of the box. You also get a lovely little card introducing hand dolly, and it gives you the information that you need. You push your base tips all the way in before you use them. You can use acetone, e-file, etc. Now the hand itself is strangely heavy, which I was really surprised about, but it did come with these two beautiful rings. One is silver, one is gold. They are customized shape, just showing you the hole there with that, where that little ball bit goes in on the clamp. It is so realistic. It is very, very stiff. It does move. I chose one where you could move the fingers and you could bend them. It is strangely freaky, but it's very heavy. I was impressed with the markings on it. It looks very, very lifelike. So much so that when I then do the demo, I've done a demo of one with the tip on and one using a form. But as you can see, they just slide in and you put them in the wrong way round. Okay, so you put the squarer edge. You don't put the cuticle bit in. You put the square edge in. And the cuticle bit then comes the free edge of that natural nail, and they just slide in. Took me a minute to find out where they went, and you just push it all the way in. And the reason I chose this is because of this feature. I wanted to be able to remove nails, especially if I did long designs, so that I could keep them. You literally just clip off that that bit of excess tip that you've got, and you can use blue tack and stick them on a shelf or a picture frame or anything like that. That is why I bought this. It was predominantly to practice on, to do competitions and to show nail art, to try out new nail art. I absolutely love it. It is brilliant. Killed me going away not being able to use it, but there is more to come, so stick with me. So I've got my hand set up with a clamp. I put my jumper over my hand and I am now putting a tip on this tip. So I used a file just to etch that nail tip before I put the other nail tip on it. Confusing much. This is one of Tracy Lou's tapered square tips. It is one of the older ones, so it takes a few seconds to bond. You will see there is a form on that index finger. I don't end up using that form because while I am filing this finger, I pull the form off. Forms don't stick as well to the finger as expected. I think I'll be fine managing, but I may, if I did a full set and I formed the whole hand up, I would probably put some tape around that finger just to give the form something to stick to. But I filed that tip into shape perfectly well. I am holding it on the edge. Obviously that tip will start to move down if you're not holding it, but all told, the hand held up very well. It is quite stiff. I don't know whether it will free up a little bit as I'm using it, but it worked just like a finger. You just have to use a little bit more pressure to hold it. I actually really liked it. So I'm using a brand new file, and just like I would when I'm doing a client's nails, I am holding that skin back around that tip to avoid getting the cuticles. It works beautifully for that. So I'm very, very impressed. There you go. Pulled the form off. So I gave up. Moving on. Starting with that tip, I am going to do a ombre on this one. So I'm using coconut milk to start with, and I'm picking that first bead up as I would normally using my size 10 Tracy Lou brush, and we're going to place that on that join area. So first bead goes on, so pick up my first bead, bleed out the back of it, first bead goes on. Keep that finger tilted down as always, pat it across to the sides, turn my brush around and blend that white acrylic back. And then I'm using my belly of my brush to pull, pat and press that acrylic down that nail until it starts to, I can feel it forming, and then I just swipe it down the rest of the nail. Wasn't the prettiest application I've ever done, but on the first time using this hand, you know, it turned out okay. So I would say use a slightly smaller bead, keep it thinner and wetter, and you won't make such a bodge of it as I've done. Just having problems uploading the next part of my video. So anyway, I then go back over again with a wetter brush. I use a little bit more acrylic, so it's not the neatest application, but you get the picture. So come in with a wetter bead just on that free edge, use that to smooth out over the top of that acrylic and just blend it back, because we're going to come in and file it, so it's nothing that can't be helped with a file. Can you see that bit of white acrylic that was stuck in my brush then? That's because I was working too wet. So I then come in with Birthday Suit for my nail bed colour. As you know, it is my favourite. I don't think that will ever change. I do love my Birthday Suit. So picking up that first bead, and we place that on that blend area, and we tap into the nail bed to make sure that's nice and flush, and then pull it down at the side. And we just blend the front of that bead down over that white. You don't want to pull it down too far, although I will go back in and refresh it if needed. My second bead then comes on the cuticle. Now I did like this hand for the cuticles. They are very lifelike. It is beautiful just to get the tip of your brush into that cuticle area and get it nice and neat. So on that second bead, you're going to bring it down over the side. You're going to pull the front of that bead down just as you would with the other. So getting that second bead on there nice and neat, and then I'm doing a third. So again, just tap tap using the point of my brush around that cuticle to come between the skin and the acrylic. You don't want to be getting that on the skin. Blend it down, tidy it up at the sides. I'm not too concerned about the sides bulging because we're going to be filing this nail, and it did file in beautifully. Structure is good, it's all good. So I'm just coming in and adding some white on that tip and pulling it up, sorry, just to freshen that white. And then I come in with a small bead of birthday suit to give me coverage down the whole of that nail, because I'd got a little bit missing on that side, and I hate that. So that's me just pushing the tip in. It does come down a little bit, so I was just checking for structure then to make sure I'd got room to add that little bit more birthday suit that I wanted. This video is all in real time. I've just cut out any unnecessary stuff. So there we go with that little bead of birthday suit, just to blend down that side because it looked a little bit patchy. Once I am happy with the blend, I then cap the whole nail in crystal glass. Now, if I'm doing this on somebody, I would normally just cap the blend area. You don't need it for the structure. You've got the structure in that acrylic already. In this case, I didn't want a little lump at the top where that clear acrylic is. You can clearly see it. So I go back in and add another little bead. So once I'm happy with that, oh, don't do that. So the tips are very, very flexible. Don't do that, especially while it's curing. But look how lovely it is to get in between, to get that tucked into that cuticle. It's beautiful. So I think this is going to help me a lot with client nails. So I'm really looking forward to that. So then we come in with the form, and I decide to put it on the ring finger. So I just roll it between my fingers to get that C curve, and you can see that I've closed that end up. No, it's not easy getting a form on this hand, just because it is quite stiff, but it's the first time I've done it, so hopefully that will get easier. And it was pointed up slightly more than I would have liked it, but as I've said, because I was just testing this out, I know that will probably get easier. And in future, if I do a full set sculpting, I would probably put some tape just around those fingers to help that stay on. I mean, it wasn't awful by any measure. These are quite sticky forms, but they don't stick well to the silicone. So that's something to watch out for. But I did support it, and at one point you see me move it back up because it slipped slightly. So I'm just trying to pinch it underneath just to get it to hold on. So yeah, not perfect, but it's on. It's all good. Now on this finger, I just decided to build a whole nail using that birthday suit. So my first bead goes on at that free edge, and we concentrate, let it polymerize, and we concentrate on getting that contact between the form and the tip. We want to get them sides. And as we're doing that, because the hand is pointing down, the product is falling down the nail anyway, so we don't need to worry about the shape just yet. We just want to make sure we've got our strength. So I'm using the side of my brush and pushing from the side at an angle so that I'm pushing the bulk of that acrylic up into the middle, which is where you want your strength. This first bead is going to be nice and thin anyway. I just wanted to try it out on the hand and just see how we go. So once I'm happy with the length of that nail, just faffing with it while it's setting. Once I'm happy, I then come in with a second bead. So you can see that form dropped. Can you see that little line? So I'm just pushing it back up because I only need it there long enough to build that base, to get that built. So now you can see there's a little line where that form's moved. But we're going to come in with our next bead anyway, so in this instance it won't matter. My second bead comes up short of that cuticle. I want to get my strength in, so tap, tap, tap around the sides and across the top, making sure we've got contact on that nail bed, and we are then swiping that acrylic down the rest of that nail. And I am shaping as I go. Okay, my next bead then comes in at that cuticle. So we pop that up on there, tap, tap, just make sure we keep it. So you just see that point of that brush, tapping in around the cuticle down the side and swipe. Same on the other side, keeping control of that product, it's not going anywhere. And we then pull the front of that bead down. We don't pull the whole bead because we want that structure. And then I'm just using my brush to tidy the sides to make sure it's not too wide, that we don't have what we call a muffin top. And then come in with another bead on that free edge. So I turn my brush around, place the bead at the free edge, get it nice and tidy and blend that acrylic back up towards the apex, because we want that thickness on the free edge, but we don't want too much bulk. So swiping off any excess, and then we're just patting it and smoothing it out while we wait for it to set. And actually this nail looked much nicer than the other one did, so I was quite impressed with that. Look how real that hand looks. Scary. Another bead on at that cuticle, just to give us that apex. I do like my apex quite high in that back third. My preference, not any reason, it's just the way I work. Okay, now I'm happy with that bead. Just checking how. Clean and brush off, making sure that's nice and clean. I then swirl it into a point, as you can see there. Lid back on, and we're ready then for filing. So now we have those two nails finished. I'm going to file. So same as always, I come in, so you can see I'm using my thumb just like I would on a client, and my finger the other side to pull that skin back, and also to stop that file cutting your client, in this case ruining my new hand. Very, very easy to file like this. You can see the tip is starting to slide down. So I do end up pushing it back up, but this is not a big thing for me, to be honest. It's not going to make much difference for me. What I do like is, because of the way the cuticles are formed, you can work with this exactly the same way you would with a client. So I have sped up this particular section of this video, but you can see same filing routine as always. Side walls, free edge, or up and around that cuticle, down the other side, and then I work on the barrel of the nail. So this nail was actually a little bit on the thick side, so the structure wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. However, my sculpted nail was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I've left a little video in at the end, which isn't very well edited, I hasten to add, but it shows you the side view, the profile of that sculpted nail. Oh, if I could do everybody's nails like that one nail all the time, I will have cracked it, because it's just gorgeous. Maybe sculpting is the way to go for me. I don't know. But anyway, look how realistic this hand looks. I found the dust very easy to clean off. I just used my duster brush. Did need to do a fair bit of filing on this nail, because I did do it on a little on the thick side. But you can see, just like with a real person, you could get in right in at that cuticle and give it a good file. I had a little lump on that side edge which I wasn't happy with, so I came back in and filed again, and because I filed that side, I go and file the other side as well, make them equal. Nice and straight, lovely hand to use, quite impressed. So I will say I can definitely vouch at this moment in time for the hand dolly hand. Absolutely love it. She doesn't have a name yet, so any suggestions? That is my husband dropping shit as usual. So yeah, this sculpted nail absolutely came out beautiful. So right under those side walls there, making sure that nail's coming straight out from that cuticle, it's not dipping down. So considering that form was slipping, but you can see the downward motion of filing causes that nail to slip out. But I like the fact that you can just pull these out and you can put a new tip in and off you go. I'd probably be quite impatient if I had to soak them off or file them off all the time. So yeah, quite pleased with that. This nail, absolutely beautiful. So that was what I bought the hand for. It was to practice and to get better, and hopefully that's what I'll be using it for. So I'm looking forward to doing some designs on these. So same routine as always, going up and around that cuticle, making sure that you're not going to catch your client's skin, so make sure you do go slower. Checking all the time that the apex is where I need it to be. It's got the strength across that stress point, that it's got a nice profile, but this nail was beautiful. So I think as I'm filing, I do come in and show you where I've got that dip. You can see it as I go to the side there. You can see there's that dip in the middle. So I need to get rid of that. So what I then do is I work on each side, filing over that area. Now you don't just come in from the top and file it off. You need to come in up and over on the sides. That way you're not taking any bulk away where you need it, and you're not affecting the shape of that nail. Oh, actually, you probably can't see it because I've gone out of shot. Sorry. But yeah, it's got a little dip, a little dip. So coming in with my buffer, I always come in with a buffer, and I always use CJP buffers. So the file I've used today is a Tracy Lou 100-180 grit file. That is my file of choice. I like to have 2 different grits in one file. I don't like to have loads of different size files. That works for me. I never need anything else. So usually 180 grit. There you go, just showing you that little dip there. So we're going to file above it to even it out. Yeah, 180 grit to work on natural nail, the 100 grit for over acrylic. I usually switch to the 180 side when I'm going around the cuticles just because it's softer, and never use a 100 grit file on a natural nail. You never need to. Also got a very, very good C-curve. I use the CJP Salon Length forms, hollow forms. Absolutely love them. You get a beautiful C-curve. I also show you that, which you don't get with the tips unless you use pre-pinch tips. And I do have some from Glitter Planet. I don't use them very much anymore. I tend to use Tracy Lou's, but sculpting is definitely something I want to do more of. So brushing off all the dust once I've finished. So there's me just pissing about with the fingers, really, just seeing how they bend. And then I just get my lamp set up. So I use CJP's tack-free top gloss into the lamp for 60 seconds. And then you've got your finished results. There's a little video at the end just to show you what the two nails look like. That is my review for the hand dolly hand. Definitely recommend it. It's lovely. So I'm really pleased so far. So I'm looking forward to getting some time to spend actually doing some sets on there. Hopefully some nice competition style ones. Russian almonds I'd like to have a go at. And there's a little bodged video at the end just to show you that beautiful sculpted nail and a picture of the finished result. Happy New Year, everybody. I will be back very soon. Back to work tomorrow. And I will see you very soon. Look at that nail. Oh. Look at that. Perfect. Right, I'm off. I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.